Hey everyone, it's Shana from Black Girl in CLE, and I have a super amazing opportunity today that I'm happy to share with you. Ladies and gentlemen, can I introduce you to Amber Ruffin, the writer of The Wiz, which is coming to Playhouse Square. So thank you so much for joining us today. First question out the box, when did you fall in love with The Wiz?
Wow, what a very difficult question. I suppose I fell in love with The Wiz when I was extremely young. And it's one of the Sunday movies you watch, right? It's Sunday, everybody's home. We all have to watch the same thing because ain't but one big TV. And then we would all sit and watch The Wiz and enjoy it together. I would guess, gosh, I gotta be like 5 when I watch it and really remember it and go, oh my gosh, you can be black and weird, you know?
Right, and sing your heart out and dance and all those things.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think has stuck with me about the show and from hearing from our readers and fans or what have you, are their memories of The Wiz and the stories of I saw it with my mom, my grandma, and they're usually women that reach out, and I just thought it was just because it's family and we were happy to see black people on a television, like you said, especially back in the day. Yeah. But it's also it's a black woman show.
That's right.
And I hadn't realized that until recently. And as you wrote this or rewrote or re-rendered this, let's talk about how black women are kind of centered here.
Right. I feel like when you first watch The Wiz, which is when you're young, you think, yay, what a fun time we are having. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You don't really receive any of the messages The Wiz is trying to give you. When really I think kind of like the message of the show is, you can do it, black girl. Like yes. That's the whole focus of the show. That's the whole point of the show, is she can do it, and she does. And to stay open enough to receive that,
right,
it is really hard when you're a black woman. I am not ashamed that I went back over this show and tripled down on everything that could possibly be a message.
Okay.
I'm like, look, little black girls are watching this. I know what else they're ingesting. Let me try my best to counteract what the world is telling them and put some positivity into them.
Yeah, and I also heard in a past interview or something that it's not just the Dorothy character. Like, we see black women throughout the show, and I hadn't identified that. So even, at the end, believe in yourself, there's black women along the way that are also helping.
Yes.
Was that intentional, or is that preserved in the show?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And we on purpose went through all of the black women characters in the show and went, how can they be beautiful in who they are? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, having fun and slanging jokes, Lord knows I love it. But like, once it gets to, making fun of yourself, kind of, not to use the word buffoonery, but buffoonery. We just wanted to stay on this side of it, because you can be a silly person and also be great.
Okay. I had seen an interview in 2020 talking about this show, and it really resonated me on the thought of this is also a show about, like we talked about, standing up, using your voice, and in some ways activism. Why do you think or social justice, why do you think that, this show now is still relevant or still important, or is that why it's still relevant and important?
It is relevant and important because of the activism we all now are a part of since 2020, but it also is, because of the activism of 2020 and beyond, we have changed the way we write and ingest entertainment, right? It used to be enough for a show to have black people in it, and now that's not enough. It has to be honest about the Black experience. And in order to do that, sometimes you have to leave certain parts of the audience out. You know, not everybody's going to get every joke. Like, remember when you saw, oh my gosh, what was that movie? I shouldn't even started down this road. It's going to make me crazy. What's the movie that the girl falls in love with a guy, and then at the end they're playing Crazy Rich Asians?
Yes.
And remember how many references were in that movie where you were like, I don't know.
Yeah, but it's still enjoyable.
It's still so enjoyable,
Right.
and it still felt so good. Like, now you don't have to dodge that. You don't
Right.
have to write around that. You can write exactly what you want to write, exactly how you want to write it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So now that we've kind of gone down this road, let's take the step back, because we don't want folks to be like, oh, now it's a whole different Wiz. Like, it's still, to your point, for everyone? Question mark?
Oh man, the Wiz is for everyone. I mean, it can't help but to be. I like to think, like, you know, people like to ask, oh, are you so nervous? Are you so scared with how it's going to turn out? It's a lot of pressure, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, if every word in the Wiz, in the book of the Wiz, was doodly doo, and they got to those songs, you'd be fine.
Yeah.
You'd be fine. Those songs are so untouchable that I feel like crazy supported, and, you know, not to mention the sets you could die over.
Okay.
And the choreography, of course, we have Beyonce's choreographer.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk about that in a minute, because I was going to say, is it still, I'm sure it's updated, and we're going to love the choreography, but we also know that sometimes, like, you don't touch our Wiz.
That's right.
So how did you bridge that, or what were some of the things you had to think about as you brought this to life?
Well, traditionally, the Wiz has been super duper 70s, and then, you know, in the book, in the writing of it, and then the songs can kind of come along to now. What we've done is we've tried to make sure that everything is timeless. Like, I want people to take exactly what we do on October 3rd and be able to do it in 30 years.
Okay.
So that's our goal. So, like, are there things that are now? Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, are there things that are 70s? Yeah. But nothing is tied down to a specific time.
Okay. So we answered this. I asked this away, but we're going to come back to it, because I want to make sure for people that are thinking about coming to the Wiz, but, you know, we don't do musicals, or I don't know if I should bring my child to this show. Because I've brought my child to some shows, and I'm like, ooh, didn't know.
Yeah.
Is this a generational show?
Absolutely. You can 1,000% bring your child to this show. I know, because I wrote it. So it's cleaner than clean. But also, like, you will enjoy this show, because the Wiz, at its heart, is like beautiful, beautiful music. That's where the Wiz is untouchable. I mean, the book, I like to hope, is good. It doesn't matter the way these people are singing these songs. I was just saying a minute ago how usually when you are a Black Broadway performer, you're kind of squished
boxed
into
in.
a mold, and they take your gift and they make it acceptable for Broadway, and then you sing like this. You know? And every singer in the Wiz is a singer, and they murder these songs.
That's what I just heard. Sanger.
Yes, they sang it, and it's so beautiful, and it makes you go, well, dang, why are they doing this to performers? When if I could have this, like, I would buy this CD.
Okay.
Showing my age.
No.
Oh my God.
At least you didn't
I
say,
would buy this record.
I would buy this cassette single. So, final question as we talk about that, because this is the pre-Broadway, and many people didn't realize that. So I say pre-Broadway, and they all go, oh, let's unpack that, because I heard that you, like, this one's done different. Normally we have Broadway that comes to Cleveland. You're headed to Broadway, right?
That's right.
But this is pre-Broadway. So tell us what we have. Like, can everybody download the soundtrack? Because it's not been on Broadway yet. So these are kind of questions I'm getting asked. And how do we get the CD, single, or album cover with the lyrics inside?
Yes, great question. The answer is I have no idea.
Okay.
They don't let me anywhere near the music
Fair enough.
because of my lack of musical talent. No, I don't know. We certainly haven't recorded the cast recording yet, but oh my gosh, whoa! When we do, oh, you're just gonna lose it. What was the second part of the question?
You're going to Broadway. This is pre-Broadway, so like let's unpack that for people that may not have experienced that. It's not that you're not able to be, you've just done a different thing.
That's right. Usually a show goes to Broadway and then it does its Broadway run and then it tours the country. We've decided to tour first and then land on Broadway. And it's great because until you hit Broadway, you can change it. So we'll show up in all of these towns around the country and then still be able to like fiddle with it a teeny bit. You know, what does Cleveland like? What does Atlanta like? You know, and then by the end, it'll be us times a million, you know?
I like that. Us times a million.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to hold you. Thank you so much for your time, Amber.
Hey,
and
thanks for having me.
definitely, we want to see The Wiz when it
Gotta
opens
see it.
October 3rd. Thank you.
Yay.